Halloween edition.
Hey, yo, you ready, Keys?
Let's get it.
Get on your feet, Tiger fans. Let's get loud. Let's go. Let's get active. Let's go.
Yo. It's your boy, Be Easy.
It's your boy V Keys, and this is the Uplayedtho Podcast. Halloween edition.
Halloween edition. Keys, this might get a little different in here tonight, man. Might get a little spooky out here, yo.
Yeah, man. Hey, beware of Uplayedtho Podcast. It is officially Halloween season, which means we're getting closer to them college football playoff rankings, and the year is shaping out. Everybody's pretty much had the bye week for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
So things are shaping up a little bit.
And teams is getting pushed back in the rankings, but we're gonna talk about that a little bit later. But first off, we had the bye week, Keys. There was a few games out there that was watchable. But we're gonna go ahead and talk about it, man.
Yeah, since we had the bye, we was off. Actually got to go down to South Carolina State. Shout out to the Bulldogs. HBCU homecoming is a great experience.
That's the people's alumni. They're alumni out there.
Yeah, that's my parents' alumni. So went down there, hung out with the fam, and the Bulldogs put some work on Delaware State. So shout out to them. Man. It was like 60-something to 30-something. Yeah, we left early, but shout out to the Bulldogs down there in Orangeburg.
Yeah, they know how to pick them for them homecoming games, man. But yeah, man. So college football week was this week 8, week 9. This is week 9. Week 9. Like you said, Clemson Tigers had a bye, and this week they got an ACC matchup, man, down there in Memorial Stadium against Louisville. We're gonna get into that a little bit later. But first off, man, our old defensive coordinator, man, Britt Venables down there in Oklahoma, man, looking for a win against Ole Miss.
And it looks like he came up short for the third game in a row by double digits.
Yeah.
So 26-14, Oklahoma, man. This is when I know they say welcome to the SEC, but dang, they've been welcomed with open arms. You know what I mean? By Tennessee, Gamecocks, and Ole Miss now. So that's
I mean, to be held scoreless in the second half, he's got some work to do because he got to keep that fan base engaged, man. And Oklahoma Sooners, they used to having some Heisman candidates come out of that school, man, and they ain't looking too Heisman worthy right now.
And they went back to the original start and made another quarterback change, so obviously that didn't work out. But this is a down year for Oklahoma. And they're right now just fighting to be bowl eligible.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
And the number 25 at the time, Missouri Tigers, man, they played Alabama, number 14, Alabama, and Alabama put some work on them boys, man.
It's a good bounce back win for the Tide, 34-0. That's a statement win against the ranked team. You lost last week, looked pretty sloppy against Tennessee. Missouri's a decent team. They were number 25, but with that shellacking,
they out of
that's a good win. So Alabama gets somewhat of a bounce back win, but I'm still not really a believer.
Yeah, definitely not. Like last year, Jalen Miro, he was doing all the Heisman poses, but I ain't seen not one this year.
So I think he learned his lesson by the naysayers were talking. He said, let a naysayer say something. They've been saying something.
There's some links out here, boy. Man, I feel like we ain't gonna talk about them yet, Keys, man. Let's talk about LSU and A&M. I think this was college game day, right?
Yeah, the Aggies, man, they're on the tear right now. They blew out LSU in the second half. It was a close game. LSU actually had the halftime lead, but A&M goes 31-6 in the second half at home. So they're a team on the rise, sitting at number 10 right now. So they'll be once we start talking about these college football playoff rankings, or could they?
Yep.
At this point, could they challenge for the SEC title?
I think so. I think so. If you look at the SEC, of course you got Georgia, right? Alabama just don't seem like they're the same team as last year. So I think they're next up. I mean, LSU, I don't really believe in them, and I ain't really a Brian Kelly fan like that. But it just goes to show these games they've been playing close, and they took a loss to A&M. So A&M might be the real deal. So let's go ahead and talk about Mike Norvell and these Florida State Seminoles, man. There's a rivalry game against number 5 Miami Hurricanes, and didn't think it was going to be much of a game, and it lived up to the non-hype, man.
I was actually disappointed because my score was wrong. I thought it was going to be 54 to 10.
Yeah, something.
So Miami didn't put up, quite the points this time. 36-14. Florida State. They're 17 years old. Oh, excuse me, that's 1-7. Oh. I'm sorry. 1-7, bro. After 13-0 ACC championship season last year, this is one of the biggest downfalls I've ever seen in college football history from one year to the next.
Yeah.
Absolutely abysmal.
And it goes to show the negative sides of the portal, right? Yep. You had all those portal players that left, and you just haven't been able to replace. The offensive line looks trash. The defensive line, it was supposed to be the best, one of the best in the country on paper. They can't stop a nosebleed. I mean, it just looks abysmal at this point. So,
like I said, man, you can't buy chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
You can buy some players. You can't buy chemistry though, and sometimes it just don't work out. Everybody's not Keon Coleman. It's not going to come in and plug and play every time. So they're reaping the benefits of that, like harshly.
Yeah, and the bad thing about it, they just lost 3 top recruits. I think 4-star recruits. I think they just lost one like Monday. I mean, like today or yesterday. So they're looking at like, you ain't got no quarterback. If I'm a receiver, I ain't coming out there, right? I'm trying to get to the league. I ain't going to Florida State, man.
They got more decommitments than touchdowns.
Yeah.
On the season.
Man.
So
shout out to PAT, man. It's not going well on any front for you right now, professional or college, but we're going to get to that later. So SMU played Duke, and they played them rather close. So SMU, I thought, was going to be a real contender here in this ACC, and now looking at how they played against Duke, I'm not so sure. Duke isn't a bad team, but
this actually, SMU, they're sitting at number 27-1, and Duke, they were 6-0, right? I think they were 6-0 before they lost 2 in a row. Mm-hmm. I believe they beat Florida State the previous week. So
yeah, still 6-1. Yeah.
But still a decent team. Duke they gave us our work last year.
Mm-hmm.
So we took our hats off to that. But SMU, the Mustangs is they're kind of surprising some people right now. So they beat Duke in overtime. Conference win. So the top of the ACC, and we'll get to that as well. But it could be some competition up there for the Tigers and the Canes, man.
Yeah, it could get interesting. So another game that I think that really needs to be talked about more is this Colorado-Cincinnati. So Colorado beat Arizona last year. They're on a bye this year. They're on a bye this week. They beat Arizona last week. So they took on the Cincinnati Bearcats, and they Shedeur continues to do his thing. Travis Hunter continues to do his thing, and that defense is kind of humming right now. They got some momentum. They beat Cincinnati 34-23. How you feel about them Colorado Buffaloes, man?
Yeah, this is a big improvement from last year defensive wise. Because this Colorado team last year you seen chunk play after chunk play. This year they tightened it up a little bit. I'm not saying they're it's not worlds better, but they're doing a very, very much better job than last year. As far as
competing,
not giving up points, not giving up the big chunk plays, holding the Cincinnati to 23 points that's a good outing. I mean, they're not they're some
Georgia,
kind of some high scoring team and anything like that, but still, and I think this is the first time they're bowl eligible since I think 2016, Colorado. So shout out to the Buffaloes, man. Deion and Shedeur got the boys humming right now, and shout out to Travis Hunter real quick, who became the first player in conference history, I believe, to win Defensive Player of the Week and Offensive Player of the Week honors in the same week.
Yeah.
Who do that?
Yeah, it's crazy because, right now I feel like he's having to campaign himself for the Heisman because, everybody knows what that young man down there at Boise State is doing. And, the Heisman has been quarterback and running back friendly. So, he's fighting against just the norms of the trophy, but
the machine of the Heisman. Yeah, he's fighting against it, but we'll see. He should definitely be invited, regardless of their record, man, for doing what he's doing on both sides of the ball.
Yeah. All right, Keys. So let's go ahead and jump into this matchup. This matchup that we have this week against the Louisville
Yeah.
Cardinals, man.
We got the Cardinals here. Another night game in the Valley, 7:30 kickoff. Louisville's had an interesting season, I would say. They started off kind of hot. They was ranked, and then they lost. So they've lost to Notre Dame by a touchdown, lost to SMU by a touchdown. Played a close game against Virginia, a team that we handled before they got the the late points. So last week was Miami. Well, this past week prior. In a shootout, they lost in the shootout, and as we discussed, it was a questionable call that could have went either way. And then this past Thursday night, they had BC down 20-0.
Yeah.
So you turn the game off, and the next thing you know, they come back and win.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Either way, it's not a good look to be down 20-0 to anybody, especially BC in a conference game.
Yeah.
But you show some,
show some fight.
You show some fight by coming back and winning, but that's not a good sign. That's not you want to hang your hat on being down 20-0.
Yeah, I mean they were ranked at the beginning of the season, and they played a tight game, like you said. They played a tight game with Notre Dame. They played a very good shootout against Miami, and some of the teams that you expect them to not really have problems like that. BC's always had a good defense, but you're right. I mean, I'm expecting them to come in, trying to get back in the. I don't think they can get back in the rankings, but I think they're gonna try to put their best foot forward against a Clemson team. They have a high-powered offense, obviously. Their defense, a little bit shaky, but I'm expecting it to be at the beginning of the season. I thought it was gonna be one of our tougher matchups, and they've kind of fallen off the wagon a little bit, but definitely can't sleep on them. So.
Yeah, I'm not going to sleep on Louisville, and this is one of them games, a la the Florida State game, that before the season you looked at, it's like, okay, this is a challenge. But as the weeks are going on, you're seeing them get exposed on defense a little bit more. Mm-hmm. They can score. They've been putting up points.
They got athletes.
They got the yards. They got the, all that, and that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But look on the other side of the ball, you're giving up, last 3-4 games alone, you're giving up 30-something a game. So. I think it'll be a good game in Death Valley, and we can get into the matchups.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, a couple of things that I'm not really sure about. I looked at the depth chart for this game, Keys, and I saw Westco and I saw Tyler Brown on it, but they did not talk about the injuries. So I'm not sure if they're going to be available or not. But I mean, if they are, then I definitely want to see what that's like, man.
Yeah, so Westco's been out really since he didn't travel for the Florida State game, so he really been out 3 weeks. Including the bye week. So we're hoping that he's good to go, and we're hoping that Tyler Brown is, he's had a tumultuous season a little bit. So hopefully he can get healthy and get back on the field and give us some more depth.
Since the Georgia game, right?
Yeah. I believe so. Yeah.
And with that being said, man, we got talent at the wide receiver position, so it hasn't been dire yet. So we want to get him healthy, but man, shout out to TB, man. Can't wait to get you back.
So you got so since we kind of previewing the game for Louisville, before we talk about the next week's slate, what's give me like a key matchup you're looking for this one?
I think we got to keep it consistent, Keys, man. We need Moffitt to get 100 yards rushing, right? And to be honest, man, I want to see a little bit more offensively. I want to see a little bit more out of TJ Moore. I want him to get some opportunities. And I think we got a two-headed monster at that tight end position, like, kind of like you alluded to with Olsen Pat Henry needing to get some shine. And from a defensive perspective, man, I keep saying it, man, I just want to see some containment of the quarterback, right? Not let him run all over the place.
Yeah, and what I want to see a big play from the special teams, a big explosive play. Louisville had a kickoff return touchdown against Miami. When's the last time we had one, man? We got to do some research on that. It's been a little minute.
I think they said Jay Haynes is going to be back there running kickoffs back now.
Okay. The last punt return I can remember us taking was Amari Rogers at Boston College, and was that 2018?
Yeah.
So Antonio, he's had some opportunities to take some. So I want to get one good spring of a kickoff or punt return that, because special teams can change the momentum of a game in a heartbeat.
Most definitely.
And I don't want to be in a position where we need the momentum change, because we should already be handling our business, and it's a night game in the Valley. So You want to throw a score out there yet? What you thinking? You think it'd be easy?
I'm gonna be honest, man. I'm gonna be honest. It's a little hard because we play a game like Virginia, and you expecting, hey, we're gonna put up 50 on Virginia, and we go out here and it doesn't happen. But Louisville, I want to say, it's a night game in the Valley, right? So it's a little bit different atmosphere. I'm going to give it Louisville. I'm going to say 21-48 Clemson.
48-21?
48-21.
Okay. Yeah, I think we'll be able to put some points on the board. There's nothing like being in the Valley in the night game. Mm-hmm. Defense, y'all have heard the chirps last couple weeks. All right, the backups, y'all not doing enough. So I think Dabo keeps the starters in for a good little while. Yeah. And we kind of contain Louisville. They'll make some plays here and there. I think they lead the nation in plays over 40 yards right now. So I'm gonna go Tigers 45-24.
Okay, 45-24. I'm not mad at that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is about a 10 and a half point spread. So we'll see how it shakes up for us, Keys.
Yep.
All right, so let's jump into these other matchups. Probably the game of the week. Penn State, Ohio State, man. A rivalry that has, for the past few years, been a staple of college football, especially during this time with rankings, man. Ohio State is favored by 4.5, man. How you feel about that game?
It's in Penn State. I've been on record saying I'm not a real believer in the Nittany Lions. But it's game day will probably be there, number 4 versus number 3, top 4 matchup. I don't know, man, because I really haven't seen too much of Ohio State, but I just don't have the feeling that they're too strong either.
Yeah.
So I think Ohio State will come out with the win. I give it, but they always play good. You know what I mean?
So it's always a tight game.
I'm gonna go overtime.
Okay.
37-34, Ohio State in overtime with that.
37-34. I'm not mad at that. Penn State has always been like the little brother, man.
Yeah.
So is it their time to get over the hump? Because if not, I think it's time for a coaching change. I mean, every year it's the same story. Okay, it's time to play Ohio State. We lose. Now we out of contention. But, they got to win they're going to either have to win the Big Ten or they're going to have to win the Big Ten because they're not going to win the championship. If they don't win the championship, they got to be the top 12. So
the conference championship. And Michigan's out the picture. They're no longer a threat. So it was Penn State season usually comes down to Michigan and Ohio State.
Yep.
So even if I think Penn State's potential path to a playoff, if you could lose Ohio State, but don't get blown out now.
Yeah.
It could be a close game, and if you make the conference championship game, you still all right. So you got to lose.
You can't lose to them twice.
No,
you lose to them twice. It's like, come on.
You don't have a path at large if that's the point. If that's what happens. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting this game. So I'm a favor Ohio State slightly.
Yeah.
This one though.
If history proves anything, then Penn State's gonna lose this game. But another rivalry game that's on the schedule. A 3:30 game. I'm expecting this to be a little bit of a blowout, Keys, man. Florida against Georgia.
Hey, in the words of Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend.
Okay.
Not so fast. This is the biggest tailgate in the South. Annually, the game played in Jacksonville.
In the swamp, yep.
Florida. No, it's in Jacksonville.
Oh, it's in Jacksonville.
Florida and Georgia always play in Jacksonville.
Oh, yeah.
They call it the biggest tailgate. Just because this has been like one of them little bit under the radar rivalries. Florida has been looking garbage at times this year.
To keep Georgia, let's keep it calm.
Yeah, and Georgia's coming off, a couple weeks ago, big win at number 1 Texas. Mm-hmm. There could be opportunity for a letdown a little bit, a la the Kentucky game earlier where they almost lost to Kentucky. So now, am I calling that?
Yeah.
I don't trust Florida that much, but a 3:30 game is in Jacksonville. This it's a big game every year.
It's 16.5 point spread. Are you taking the points? Are you taking Florida with the points?
I'm gonna take Florida with the points, man.
Okay.
I think they can keep it. They can keep it somewhat interesting.
It's about the respect. It's about the rivalry respect. because they ain't got much to play for.
They don't.
The way Miami treated them, you know what I'm saying? They out here losing recruits as they playing the rival.
That was pretty bad.
so, I mean, hey, I'm going to tune in. If at halftime it's a blowout, that's it. It's a wrap. So, let's talk about this one. This one is real interesting on the schedule. I'm definitely going to tune into this one. This one of the two I'm going to tune into. So, we got Texas A&M, who just handled their business this week. They're playing South Carolina. Now, South Carolina has played a lot of good teams close, and this is only a 2.5-point favor to Texas A&M. Do you think they got a chance?
Well, they go to Williams-Brice. The fans will be a little crazed, and ready for this opportunity. But like I said, when they lost to Ole Miss, when they got blown out, like it's either feast or famine. You play Bama to a T, you play LSU to a T. Mm-hmm. You blew out Oklahoma, but we see they're not what we thought they were.
Yeah.
And then so you got A&M coming in here. So is this going to be a letdown game?
Yeah.
Or Texas A&M is rolling. Can the Gamecocks keep it close?
Yeah, and at some point you gotta get over the hump, right? You're playing a lot of good teams close, and you're coming up with the L, like Alabama. You could have beat them. You could have beat LSU, right? Texas A&M. I mean, they're probably the best team in the SEC, so it would be a statement game. They're 2-3 in the SEC, so another loss in the conference, they don't have anything to play for. They're just working on being bowl eligible. You know what I mean? Last year it didn't work out, so hopefully.
I'm gonna take A&M to cover down here.
Cover?
I'm not sure if it'll be a blowout, but I mean the way they put work on LSU in that second half, 31-6. Like I said earlier, they're kind of rolling right now. So they only favored by 2.5. I think they can win by 10.
Okay, 10 points. All right, man. I'm gonna be honest, man. I want to go with the Gamecocks, but at the same time, man, they play these games and they don't have really maturity at that quarterback position. So I'm gonna definitely give the edge to Texas A&M. I think they can cover 10. But I ain't gonna put no prediction out there. All right, so let's talk about SMU and Pitt. This is gonna be one of those matchups. These are the two teams in the ACC that we think are really gonna give some competition to Miami and Clemson. First off, who you got in this game? Because it looks like SMU is favored, and Pitt's been playing some good ball. And who do you think is the biggest threat?
This is a big game. Both undefeated in conference play. So this game, 18 Pittsburgh got 20 SMU. This is a big game, not just for the conference, just even for the national landscape.
Yep.
Because either one of these teams could challenge to get in the ACC title game as well. I mean, the talk's been about Clemson and Miami all year. We on a crash course. Two best offenses. Miami's defense ain't like that. We still got some work to do on defense ourselves.
Yep.
But we had the cachet. We got the experience. We got the moxie. Dabo's been the big game at the big game, so
we got the coaching staff.
He knows how to prepare his guys for that. SMU, Pittsburgh, they're not experienced in either of those. So,
Gary Riley's got this offense humming now, right? So,
this is the tough one, man. I'm not gonna lie, but I think I'm gonna take SMU at the crib. I think I'm gonna go with the Mustangs. But Pitt, they just blew out Syracuse.
Yeah.
But looking at the game, Kyle McCord threw 5 picks. So, and 3 of those went back. You know what I mean? So, you take them 3 out, that's 21 points. So, Pitt offense don't really only score 20 points.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they weren't exactly world beaters. They just had the defensive game of their life.
Yeah.
So
you going SMU?
I'm gonna go SMU in this one right here.
So SMU is favored by over a touchdown. So
that might be a little much.
Yeah, I think that's a little much, man. Pittsburgh is a better team than that. They're 7-0, and I think SMU is a newcomer to the ACC. I think it's gonna be a tight game. I think it's gonna be maybe a 3-point field goal game, and I'm gonna go Pitt, man.
Okay,
I'm gonna take Pitt.
I mean, they giving SMU a lot of respect with that 7.5, though. I'm like, okay,
yeah.
But that can go a long way to determine, because Clemson we got Pitt in 2 weeks or 3 weeks on the 16th. So that'll be a big game in determining who's going to be the real challenger next to Miami.
Yeah.
For the Tigers.
Yep. All right, so Keys, man, let's get to your SEC prediction for the SEC title, man. We got
my Commodores, baby.
You got the Commodores who've been humming. They played Texas close,
and they played Tennessee close this past week, lost by 3.
And so you got Auburn at Vandy.
It's at Auburn.
It's at Auburn, but yeah,
I'm going Vandy.
Here. You going Vandy?
Yeah, I'm going Vandy. Auburn. It's just not. It's not. It's been too up and down.
Yeah.
Turnovers, quarterback changes, no consistency. So I'm going Vanderbilt. In Auburn, in Jordan here.
Yeah,
I'm going with the Commodores to get that W.
Yeah. Auburn's 1-4 in the SEC, so this is pretty much, gonna knock them out. I'm going Vandy as well. They got some swag down there, man. They got that quarterback has got them playing with swag. So yeah, I think you might be right. All right, Keys, man. It's about that time to get into these rankings, man, and talk about all these changes and whatnot. So,
well, I know one thing that's standing out, and we highlighted Army and Navy last week of being ranked. Mm-hmm. Navy got they got the doors blown off them by Notre Dame, so they made a swift exit out these rankings this week, and Notre Dame is up to number 8, which I still don't believe in Notre Dame.
Yeah,
the Northern Illinois loss does seem like a long time ago, but it really wasn't.
Yeah.
So there's still some things there that I'm just not sure about.
It's wild to me because they lost to an unranked team and they stayed high in the rankings, and I think they don't have a conference game, so they got to be at least at that 12 spot to get into the playoffs, right? So they're keeping them right there. But yeah, you're right. That was a pretty swift exit and wasn't no comp, So. Hey.
Yeah.
It was,
so I mean, hey, it was cute while it lasted, Navy, but
that Cinderella story is over.
Yeah, that's pretty much over. And Alabama's still there at 14. They're trying to keep them on the outskirts.
Yeah.
Looking in Indiana 13. Us in Ohio State, the Tigers in Ohio State actually had the same amount of votes right now. So we're kind of tied right there at number 11, which is I don't like that notion if it's a bye week and we drop. Come on, man, stop it.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody inches ahead of us, okay. But if we got to keep our same spot, man.
And Iowa State almost lost at that.
Yeah.
So I mean, they almost lost. So rest of the top 10, A&M 10, BYU 9, like I said, Notre Dame 8. Tennessee just come off a win versus Vandy, number 7. That's still, they haven't been looking.
Yeah, Tennessee has not
really sharp.
Hasn't been looking great, man.
Texas, I mean, they had a little battle themselves this week. So that number 6, the U is at number 5. So we'll see, if Cam Ward can continue this Heisman campaign run that he's on, which it's been a great run so far. But
it seems like a little soft run to me, man. He might be like 3rd. He playing for an invite at this point. I don't think he has enough to win it, but.
Well, numbers wise, he doing his thing.
Yeah.
The Buckeyes and Penn State, like we talked about before,
they're gonna take care of each other. So.
Yeah, that'll cancel out Georgia number 2, Oregon number 1. So
do you feel like Oregon is that much better than Georgia to get 61 first place votes?
Nah, I said that last week after Georgia beat Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, they're number 2. They need way more first place than that. Yeah. First place votes than because Oregon has 61, Georgia has 1 first place vote. So. You mean to tell me 61 voters think on a neutral field that Oregon can give Georgia that work?
Yeah.
I vehemently disagree.
Yeah, because that defensive line is a little different.
Yeah, it's a little different. This ain't the Pacific Northwest. These are some Southern boys. We know how to strap them up down here.
Yeah.
Pause.
Yeah.
So.
Get that out of here. Get that out of here. All right, man. So Keys, what you got over there, man?
Man, look, man, we're going to do a little something that's called, in the spirit of Halloween, man, we're going to do something that's called, we're just creeping it real.
We're going to creep it real, man.
We creeping it real, man, so be easy.
Yeah.
Creeping it real.
Creeping it real, man.
Is Penn State a legit title contender right now? Creep it real.
I'm going to creep it real, man. I don't think Penn State. No, I don't think that they're really title contender. They have to prove it this week. They have to beat Ohio State, and they need to do it handily, man. These close games isn't gonna tell me enough, and like Penn State, they don't really play anybody like that, right? So this is their test. Michigan, of course, Michigan ain't who they've been in the past. They're not a challenge this year, so Ohio State is the barometer. So we gonna see, man. I don't believe.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna give you another creep it real.
Okay.
We're gonna go outside the top 12.
Okay.
And we can see who can slide in there in the back door on the.
Who can slide?
So creeping it real. Do you see the LSU Tigers as a legit playoff contender at this point, coming off a loss to Texas A&M?
That's a tough one. Because they played a tight game with South Carolina, and they took a loss. I believe they lost to Texas. And to be honest, man, they're not playing well against the contenders. So LSU, I'm not a Brian Kelly fan, man. I'm not giving them a shot, man.
Okay.
All right, Keys. So I need you to creep it real, man.
Yeah, all the way.
So Notre Dame, man, they're in this top 10, man, and they had a very bad loss to an unranked Northern Illinois team, man. Do you think that they are a legit playoff team? Can they get in that top 12?
Yes and no, only because the math. Mm-hmm. So they don't belong to a conference. They want to put them, so they got them sitting there at number 8. So I'm not sure the rest of their schedule, but I'm pretty sure they'll be favored in the rest of their games. Not to say there could be another upset like we saw. This year, Riley Leonard, they've just been a run-heavy team. Mm-hmm. The passing game hasn't been off the charts. And other than that, to me, there's really no great teams this year.
Yeah.
Georgia, they look like the best team in the country after they beat Texas a couple weeks ago. So, just creeping it real, they are, but they aren't.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
You know what I mean? Just by
default.
By default.
Okay.
Just because it's Notre Dame, they how they want to do Notre Dame and keep them up there and all that. So
I got one more for you, Keys.
Yeah, let's get it.
Let's creep it real. The game of the year was supposed to be Georgia, Texas, and it was a snooze fest. Do you think Texas is a legitimate title contender, or did they get exposed?
Good question. I still do believe that they are a legitimate title contender.
Okay.
Even with getting exposed. And because when people get exposed, because we got exposed week 1 versus Georgia.
Yeah.
And everybody wrote us off. And now we're in everybody's playoff projections. So they did get exposed, but it's only one loss. It is a conference loss, so that does hurt.
Yeah.
A little bit more than the non-conference loss.
Yeah.
But
a couple of things to note in that game though, Keys. It was 6-0 first half, so defense was doing its thing. They just got tired. And playing to get the Georgia Texas game, it showed that offensive line for Texas is not what we may have thought it was.
So and one thing that Clemson has done that we talked about in length is create pressure, getting to the quarterback. Georgia did that in bunches, and Texas had to make a quarterback change because Quinn is not as fleet of foot as Arch Manning. So even when Arch came in there and gave you some mobility, he wasn't able to push the ball down the field because the Georgia defense was too much. But I will say that right now as we stand, I think they still are legit title contenders at this moment.
Okay, so everybody can have a bad game. Fleet of foot, I like that. Because Arch he got some wheels on him. But yeah, man. There's a couple of other teams that's in this mix that I'm not really sure about, like BYU, Boise State, Indiana. Do you feel any of these teams are legitimate top 12 and can really make some noise? Iowa State.
I don't, but there's always going to be a team or two that's going to sneak in there, and you had a cute into the season, and you a little dark horse, but when you start playing some big boys, some teams that have some pedigree
Yeah.
And this playoff, you know, I know it's a new playoff era, the 12 team, but I'm just saying in general, last 6-7 years, you know, a lot of Georgias, the Clemsons, the Bamas, the Ohio States, your Indiana, your Iowa State, BYU, you never been there.
Yeah.
So you don't have the experience. I know what, it don't matter, it's a different team. It does matter because it's, you know, it's a lot of the same coaching staff for one, and then it's just, you're not a brand. And you know, college football is a TV show as well. So the playoffs, it's a TV series.
Yeah.
So they still want to get the best ratings possible. You know, but you still got to get the best teams you can. But
yeah,
Indiana, they are 8-0. They're doing the thing. Iowa State, BYU, because I just don't. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
neutral field, they're not beating anybody.
Yeah.
In the top 10.
It's almost like they have to, for them to get that nod, they got to win the conference, right? And I don't know. Would it be a blowout if they played if a BYU played a Georgia? Would they get dusted off? Would Oregon straight kill?
Yeah, they're getting tossed like a salad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, man. Well, that was the top 25, man. Missouri is down there at 25. How they still sticking around? I don't know, but Army's at 21. Let's see if they can stay in there, man. Shout out to Colorado, man. They got to number 23. Deion said, "Hey, I like to be, you know, kind of in the shadows, getting it in." But all right, man. I'm excited for this game, Keys. I'm excited for this Louisville matchup. It's a primetime game. We starting to get some respect out here. All these 12 o'clock games. I mean, goodness gracious, but
yeah, it's good to get them primetime games. You know, sometimes it's cool to have the 12 or the 3:30 just to get it over with and, you know, chill back for the rest of the day. Because sometimes you don't like to wait all day and like, dang, it ain't even 6 o'clock yet. We still got another hour. But, you know, it's nothing like a primetime game in the Valley. You know, and since we are playing Louisville, I just got to throw it back real quick. The 2016 Lamar Jackson versus Deshaun Watson.
Oh, yeah.
Primetime night game in the Valley. One of the best games I've ever seen. What a game in Clemson with the victory. We're going to have to throw some highlights of that one up and throw it back since we are hosting Louisville again.
Yeah.
In the Valley.
That was
you know what I mean?
Popcorn ready games right there, man. Like
top 5 showdown. Louisville was number 3. We were number 5. You know, Lamar was breaking all kind of records. Clearly about to be the Heisman.
Had some of the best style points. I mean,
but then we, you know, that defensive line, we did our thing. We was up 28-10 at half that game, and then Lamar. He brought them boys back. They got the lead, but then Octavia Scott had a long kickoff return. You know, Leggett called him a 2-point conversion. I mean, what a game, man. So that's just giving memories of that game, that 2016 epic Clemson Tigers W. So we're gonna be showing some highlights of that, man. We're gonna throw it back a little bit on y'all this week too, man. So yeah.
He's gonna throw it out there for y'all, man. Hopefully this game is not reminiscent of that, but hopefully we can represent like we need to, man.
And
especially after the bye week, right?
And y'all know where to find us right here on your screen. Uplayedtho, Instagram, Uplayedtho, IG, TikTok, all that. Just make sure you follow us. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube. That's how we keep it free.
Yep.
On YouTube, subscribe. So tell your friends we be out here, man. We're outside.
We outside.
As the youngins say, we outside, man.
Yeah, we out here, man. And don't forget to go to ESPNCLT.com. That's ESPNCLT.com. ESPN Charlotte, 7:30 the game. Search Uplayedtho, U space played space THO. All of our podcasts will pop up, man. We drop every Wednesday. But check us out, man. And with that being said, Keys,
we out.
We out.